What's up, guys? So today we are going to be doing a cocktail called Trader Vic's Grog, and this is something that is very pervasive in the tiki world. There are a ton of cocktails that are called grog. Grog this, Navy Grog, Voodoo Grog. Even Steve the bartender did a Don the Beachcomber's Grog, and then there's the Trader Vic's Grog. And so you got to ask yourself, like, what is grog? So the thing about grog is that it has a fantastic and fascinating history. So for those of you that are not interested in the fascinating history behind cocktails, you guys can just skip ahead because there is a trigger warning that this is going to be a lot of talk. I'm going to try and get through it fast because we have Pebble Ice here that we're using today, as you can see. So I want to get through this quickly so that I don't have an overly diluted cocktail, but it is a very fascinating subject, and I think you guys, or for those of you guys that are interested in history, are going to really like it. So basically, grog is a 3-to-1 mixture of rum and water. And it came about in the mid-1700s because of a guy named Admiral Edward Vernon. A really kind of interesting side note about Admiral Vernon is that the estate of George Washington, which is called Mount Vernon, which is George Washington's plantation estate, was named after this general. So basically, George Washington inherited the plantation from his half-brother Lawrence Washington, who was so enamored with this famous British Royal Navy admiral that he named his plantation after him, which is just an interesting side note. Anyway, Admiral Vernon was a very, very well-respected, incredibly competent admiral in the British Royal Navy, and he realized that he had a problem on his ships. So basically, sailors back then got what was called a rum ration, and they got them twice a day. They got them once at 11 o'clock in the morning, and they got another ration at about 4 o'clock in the evening, and it was kind of the highlight of the day. So the reason why the sailors got rum rations in the first place was because a sailor's life, I mean, nowadays is probably very hard, but a sailor's life in the mid-1700s was even harder. They slept below decks with a bunch of dirty men. They only had a hammock to sleep in and probably just like a foot locker. Everything was dirty and disgusting, and there was lots of disease, and it was not fun. Not fun at all. Why are you laughing? Why are your eyes laughing?
It's just the way you said that. Like, the sailors slept with a bunch of dirty men. But it's like, who are these dirty men that have to?
Oh, they're sailors.
But they are the dirty men.
They are the dirty. They are all the dirty men, right? But I was just trying to get from the perspective of, like, I was trying to put the viewer into the shoes of being a sailor amongst a bunch of dirty men. So these rum rations were basically something to sort of kill the pain. You know, it just cuts the monotony of the day to get a little bit buzzed. And these rum rations were not meager rations. They were the equivalent of about 5 cocktails a day. So basically, these guys were keeping themselves pretty drunk. And the other thing about them is that they were foolproof rum. So nobody knew how to calculate ABV in the mid-1700s, but you would think that the regular, like, normal spirit that you would get, it was over 100 proof. So they're drinking, that's what the term Navy strength rum actually comes from. So they're drinking this overproof rum, basically, getting hammered and trying to fulfill their duties on the deck. So Admiral Vernon, he realized that he had a big problem. Like, first of all, discipline was hard enough. But when you add rum to the mixture, you just get a bunch of dirty-ass men trying to fight each other. Tempers are running hot on the ship, and it just wasn't a very good scene. The other thing is that sometimes they would have to climb up the rigging to, like, fix a broken mast. And you would think that just doing that sober in, like, a pitching ocean would be dangerous enough. But imagine sending people that are completely inebriated to go run up the rigging and then fix a broken mast. A lot of people died in this job.
It might have been easier to send them up. He was like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, we'll just get rid of him. Yeah, just hoping that they would die. So,
yeah, they were sober. They were like, no way.
Admiral Vernon needed a solution to this problem. But he realized that he couldn't get rid of the rum ration because if he got rid of the rum ration, his sailors would mutinize. They would be mutiny. They would just take over the ship and kill everybody, and it would be chaos. So he decided on something that was even more brilliant, and that was he would start watering down, basically proofing the rum. So what he would do is he would he would make sure that 3 parts water to 1 part rum would go into a mixture, and that the mixture would be mixed above decks in front of everybody so that nobody could skim off the top. Because when you're mixing things like that, if you're doing that below decks and out of sight from the captain and everyone else, you know people are going to be skimming some rum. So instead, they just made this complete tradition out of it. The cook would come up, or the cook's assistant would come up, and they would mix this grog on the boat. And I just thought that's really interesting. Now, the grog that we're making today is not going to be anything like that, because literally what grog is basically that 3-to-1 mixture of rum and water, and then to sweeten it, because he realized everyone was kind of griping about the just kind of unpalatable rum-water mixture that they were getting, they would get a salt ration as well. And so Admiral Vernon decided that they could also trade in their salt rations for a bit of lime and a bit of sugar to sweeten their mixture. And so that's what became what was titled like Navy grog, which is water, lime, simple syrup, and rum.
They weren't complaining about the taste until they got watered down?
No, they were complaining about the taste of watered down rum because it was just rum with water. And so he let them make a sour, just squeeze some limes in there. Because the thing about lime is that whether it was an accident or not, it was realized around this time that drinking vitamin C in limes, because they're so rich in vitamin C, would get rid of whatchamacallit?
Scurvy.
Scurvy, right. So there you go. So they always had limes aboard every ship, and they always had sugar aboard every ship. So he would say, trade in your salt ration for a bit of lime and a bit of sugar, and then you can make like a sweet kind of mixture out of your rum. That was basically the first daiquiri, if you think about it. I know the daiquiri was created in Cuba, but rum, lime, and sugar has been being mixed on boats since the creation of rum. So there it is. All right, let's get into making this drink so that all this ice doesn't melt. I thought that was a pretty interesting story. Did you learn something new today, Marius?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so this is actually not going to be anything like that grog. So grog is nowadays, I guess, it's just kind of a blanket term for some type of rum drink with a little, we're not even putting lime in it today. We've got lemon for this grog, so I don't know. So first thing we're going to do is just a few dashes of Angostura bitters. Recipe calls for 1. I like to do 2, 4 out of a Japanese bitters dasher. We're going to do 1 ounce of lemon juice, 1 ounce of just regular old pineapple juice, unsweetened, 1 ounce of this is passion fruit syrup, and then 2 ounces of dark Jamaican rum. This is kind of a frilly grog, you know what I'm saying? But it's like a little bit frilly, but it's not like, but it's still a very simple drink. We're just gonna add a little Scotia crushed and give it a nice whip shake. Forgot my Surfside. We need a Surfside for this one. And what's cool about whip shaking like this is that you can get nice aeration in the ingredients on your tin as well. So, and we're just gonna pour. This is gonna be pretty high volume. And give it some ice. A lot of people have been commenting lately, why do you use so much ice? Well, I use so much ice because you need to add as much ice as possible to make sure that you don't over dilute your cocktail. I know that it seems like adding more ice to make something dilute less wouldn't sound very true and maybe against logic, but it actually is true. The more ice you have, the more surface area of your cocktail touching cold ice is, so that when your cocktail is already down to temperature, the more of it that touches ice, the less quickly it will dilute. So I'm gonna give it a little slappy poo, a little crushy pants. I feel like I gotta say that nowadays or people feel cheated out of the old slappy poo crushy pants. And then I'm gonna just add a couple skewered I was gonna say Angostura for some reason, but that's not Angostura anything. That is a Luxardo cherry or 2. And then I was just thinking we could put a little wheel of, how do you like that? Does that look good? A little dehydrated lime wheel?
Sure.
Or lemon wheel for that matter. And then a little Maori straw. Okay. Fantastic. So we're doing Trader Vic's actual specs here. It is fantastic. It's really good. It's nice and tart, very lemony. You got that nice pineapple. The passion fruit, which is like it's almost savory and tart at the same time, really comes through. And then 2 ounces of the Jamaican rum really brings everything together. This is the 3-to-1 mixture of passion fruit to sugar. I might actually think that maybe I'd make it a little bit sweeter.
That's a rare.
I think it could use a tad more sweetness, but it's really nice nonetheless. These are just the original specs. I didn't restructure this one in any way. And then the Angostura Bitters gives it a nice little tropical vibe to it. So there it is. That's all I got for you today. Probably a 14-minute episode, I don't know. But Trader Vic's grog. And I hope you guys like the history on grog. If you like our channel, please hit like and subscribe. Check us out on Patreon. You can give us money there, although we don't normally upload on Patreon. It's just there for donations to our channel if you'd like to help us out. And then we also have...
YouTube memberships?
Thank you. I don't know why I just kind of brain farted on that, but we have YouTube memberships, and that is where we do a little bit of exclusive content, exclusive live streams. So if into that exclusivity, kind of thing, then you should go there and do that. And then also we have a virtual bottle program that we've instituted so people can buy us bottles. That's it, Marius, I think. So I'll see you guys on another time when we do something else tiki for this lovely hot summer weather we got going on.